For our first keynote address today, please give a warm welcome to Mr. Bharat Lal, Additional Secretary and Mission Director, Jal Jeevan Mission, Department of Drinking Water and Sanitation, Ministry of Jal Shakti, Government of India, and Mr. Sanjay Mukim, Strategist, Head of India Equity Research, JP Morgan. Over to you, Sanjay.
Thank you. Good morning and good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Sanjay Mukim, and I am the Equity Strategist and Head of Research for JP Morgan in India. It is a pleasure and a privilege to welcome Mr. Bharat Lal, Additional Secretary and Mission Director of the Jal Jeevan Mission for the Government of India. The Jal Jeevan Mission is perhaps one of the most transformative endeavors of the Government of India, aiming to provide a functional household tap water connection to every rural household by 2024. Mr. Lal, having joined the civil service in 1988, has many years of experience in the drinking water and sanitation sector, both at the center and the state of Gujarat. Post the earthquake in the early 2000s, he helped set up the Water and Sanitation Management Organization in 2002, which facilitated portable drinking water to most households in the region. The success of this initiative was recognized by many awards, including the Prime Minister's Civil Service Award, the Commonwealth Association for Public Administration and Management Award, and the United Nations Public Service Award. Sir, good morning, and thank you very much for taking time to speak with us today. May I suggest that we start with a few opening remarks from you, post which we can take a few questions. Over to you, sir.
Thank you, Sanjay. Thank you, Sanjay, and good morning, everyone. Thank you, Mr. Madhav Kalyan, CEO, and my colleague, my friend, Mr. Bharat, my namesake. And indeed, it's a privilege to be sitting here and talking to you. I wish we could have met physically, but in the changed circumstances and these kind of times, I think it is good to have this kind of discussion. Friends, let me give an overarching view of what is happening actually and what is the basically long-term goal. And then I'll give you some nitty-gritty, some numbers about Jal Jeevan Mission. And as Sanjay suggested, I think we will have some kind of discussion, some kind of question answer. If you have some clarification to seek, I think I'm available. See, the first and foremost is that keeping in view our population, this government since 2014, under the Prime Minister, is very clear on one point, that quality of life of people have to be improved, A, and B, we have to enhance their ease of living. People can't keep on struggling for their basic necessities, are basically too many rules, regulation, and laws basically to stifle their creativity and their activities. So as you must have noticed that in many fields, basically there is housing, or less electricity, or cooking gas, or healthcare, or insurance, or banking. See, all kind of facilities are being made available, which is ordinarily available in developed world to any family. A, and B, many laws, acts, rules, regulation have been abolished, or streamlined, or simplified it. The purpose is that to bring that ease of living, improve the quality of life. So I think I'll not cover other aspects, whether it's a housing or let's say insurance or healthcare, But let's say just 2-3 things which is basically directly connected with Jal Jeevan Mission. In 2014, I think what we did basically, Prime Minister announced from Red Fort on 15th August 2014 that countrywide Swachh Bharat Abhiyan, basically a total sanitation campaign will be launched. And idea was that every village has to be made open defecation free. A, and B, simultaneously within no time, universal electrification and every household to be provided electricity. That was started. Every village has to be provided, every household to be provided electricity. The idea was that if we make our villages, our rural areas, and of course cities also cleaner and greener, and open defecation is stopped, then perhaps water can be addressed in a much better way. And we understand that in a country like ours, where out of 734 districts, roughly 256 districts are water stressed, where basically fresh water per capita availability is around 1100 cubic meter. So it means, and we understand that in a country like ours, except few northern Himalayan states or ranges, most of the places, whatever water we get is quite seasonal, and it varies from 10 to 12 days to let's say 35 days during monsoon, during the rainy season. So we get water for let's say average 25 days, and then we have to manage whole year, maybe even second year if it is a drought year. And thirdly, we have to ensure that in a country like ours, where basically socioeconomic development and high economic growth is a huge priority, we have to ensure that water does not become a limiting factor in our quest for this kind of development. So keeping all these things in mind, in 2019, all water-related subjects, departments, ministry, they were brought under single umbrella, and which is known as Ministry of Jal Shakti, basically loosely translated as Ministry of Water Resources, basically which handles demand, supply, pollution, everything, basically rejuvenation of rivers, everything basically handled at one place. And secondarily, most important thing, that in August 2019, again on 15th August, Jal Jeevan Mission was launched. Jal Jeevan Mission, very simple program, very simple program. Program is that every rural household, irrespective of socioeconomic status, caste, religion, is a universal coverage. Every household to be provided tap water supply. And for that tap water supply, 5 parameters have been defined. A, quantity, in adequate quantity, means at the rate of minimum 55 liter per person per day. A. B, of prescribed quality, which is basically BIS standard. Basically, WHO standard has been modified, keeping in view Indian conditions. C, with adequate pressure. The water should be supplied with pressure. And D, regular basis. There should not be any interruption, basically, assured and regular basis. And lastly, all those infrastructure is going to be built, this supply, it means it has to be for next 30 to 40 years. So infrastructure is being built for next 30 to 40 years. Please don't forget that in Indian context, the population, our families is going to be ensured this kind of service delivery. In rural area today, we have 192 million rural households. They are living in 1.7 million habitations or 604,000 villages. So A, assured water supply to every rural home. B, again, assured water supply in every public institution, means schools, children's creches, means which we known as Anganwadi or Balwadi locally. See, like public health center, community center, residential schools, all those kind of places. And third aspect of Jal Jeevan Mission is important, that all these 604,000 villages, they have to start shouldering the responsibility of management, operation, and maintenance of water supply, drinking water source augmentation, strengthening, preservation, grey water collection, treatment, and reuse, and fourthly, regular operation, maintenance, and supply. So end of the day, 604,000 local public utilities, these Gram Panchayat, village panchayat, or local self-government have to be converted into a kind of local public utility, local water utility. So these are the three very clear-cut goals under Jal Jeevan Mission. Infrastructure for assured supply to household, to public institution, and third, the management has to be with local rural bodies, or what we call village panchayat, is the local self-government. What has been done? When program was launched on 15th August 2019, 19, roughly 2 million rural households had provision of tap water supply. But service level was at the rate of 40 liter per person per day or less. And remaining 160 million have to be provided in these 5 years, 2024. So you can see the scale actually of the work. It's quite humongous. And we have to work with the speed. There are certain limitations, as you know, that rural water supply scheme, or you are going to make this kind of infrastructure in villages. It means starting from collecting data and survey work, to designing, to estimates preparation, to tendering, contracting, work order issue, then implementation, execution, then mobilization of material, then in fact monitoring the whole thing, taking corrective actions wherever required, third-party inspection. So I think whole gamut of work is involved, and I think it is fairly good. Complex and quite demanding. More so because we are basically a kind of federal setup, and this program is implemented in partnership with states, state governments or provincial government, and which we have got 28 states or provinces. So that is the administrative arrangement. And for a smooth implementation, there is a National Jal Jeevan Mission, which is basically I am heading. I have been given this privilege. At a state level, in every state, we have set up a state water and sanitation mission, which is headed by Chief Secretary. And at district level, we have district water and sanitation mission, which is headed by the district magistrate or district collector or deputy commissioner. Is basically administrative head of the district, basically. And lastly, at every village level, we have the village panchayat, or village rural local body, basically headed by an elected person and have a permanent secretary there. Then in every village, we are trying to create a kind of user committee. And here is the true empowerment, true capacity building, and true approach of converting these bodies into a kind of public utility. What we are trying to do, that this 7 to 15 member elected body in every village is basically being trained, being brought certain aspect of water, sanitation, and hygiene, and healthcare, all these knowledge and information. Then we are forming 10 to 15 member user committee in every village. Average village population, you can say average is around 3,000 people in a village, or 600 household. So we are forming 10 to 15 member user committee. It's an executive committee, 50% women, and suitable representation to weaker section of society. So these 15 people, basically, they become a kind of executive body, which is operating, maintaining, managing, planning, everything is being done. Third aspect is that in every village, we are training, sensitizing, reorienting, and providing kits, etc., for water quality testing for surveillance purpose. Just like a glucometer, you can test at home your glucose level. Similarly, we are empowering people to test quality of water for certain parameters. And the device which we are developing, which is going into market very soon, is basically just pour water in that device, and it has the provision of Bluetooth and SIM, and data is uploaded about the quality actually. So you can keep surveillance of, because in India, you see, the problem is that tap water what is being supplied might be clean, but somehow we don't have trust actually. We don't have confidence that we can drink directly from the tap. And one of the missing link is that empowering people to test their water at home so that quality of water can be ensured. If this is dirty, remedial action can be taken, accountability can be ensured, number of steps can be done. And lastly, in every village, we are training people for masonry work. We need masons for overhead tank construction. We need plumber, we need electrician, we need pump operator, we need motor mechanic, fitter, etc. So in every village, imagine 604,000 villages, in every village we are creating basically around 30 to 40 people who are basically enlightened in terms of water, sanitation, and hygiene, leading to good public health. So that job is being done. There is a massive use of technology. I will request kindly have a look at our Jal Jeevan Mission JJM dashboard. Kindly type JJM dashboard And on that dashboard, you will see the data, whole country, state is specific, district is specific, and village is specific. So this kind of data is being basically placed in the public domain. Every village. So far, we have been able to give tap water connection to more than 50 million people, a household. And earlier, 32 million. So overall, more than 80 million household out of 192 million household have started getting tap water connection. And names and details of all these customers is available. Is available. Second thing, whatever assets are being created, they are geotagged. Whosoever is getting connection, his identity is certified, vetted, and verified by Aadhaar number. And all financial management is through public finance management system. There is no basically payment through check or cash or any other mean. All transaction is taking place on this public finance management system, PFMS, and you can trace every single penny, where on which item it is being spent and to whom the payment has been made. That can be to capture this thing, we have Jal Jeevan Mission, JGM, IMIS, Integrated Management Information System. It's a huge database, basically capturing details of 192 million families, 600,000 villages, and all water supply infrastructure. And the same thing is basically projected on dashboard. Lastly, we have started one, last year we started one ICT Grand Challenge, basically to develop sensor-based IoT device. Essentially, the purpose is that in every village, on every overhead tank, as well as tail end of the pipe water supply scheme, such sensors are installed, which are capturing basically timing of water supply, pressure, quantity, and certain quality parameters. And all this data is transferred because these devices are basically having data transfer provision. So data can be transferred on the system. And you can see sitting at one place, this pilot is going on in 111 villages. And for 11 states, the tender process is on because it's going to start this year at least for 100,000 plus villages actually. So idea is that this data is available everywhere. Whether water supply system is working or not working, what is the quantity of supply, what is the quality, what is the regularity, and all these kind of things. Similarly, we had also launched one challenge basically to develop water quality testing device, a kind of portable device, a kind of domestic device that water can be tested by anybody and everybody at their home at the minimal cost. And this data is also transferred on the same dashboard. You can have a look that daily how many samples are tested, what is the quality, how many samples are failing, what are the remedial action are taken. So end of the day, this whole system is being made available to village as an unit so that the village can perform the function of a public utility or water utility. Idea is that every village start working as a public utility. Well, to enable, as I said, this kind of infrastructure, both in ICT as well as the basic infrastructure is being built. We are setting up one center at the national level, basically one academy, you can say, a training institute, you can say, at Kolkata. It's basically National Public Health Engineering Institute, focusing on basically capacity building of the sector people. This basically is education, training, research, advice, as well as outreach. Then in two IITs, Institute of Technologies, which are our premier technical institutions, in two IITs, one is IIT Madras and second is IIT Gandhinagar. There we are setting up two centers of excellence. IIT Madras is basically on technology, on sensor, on all those kind of things. And IIT Gandhinagar, western part of India, is more about management, about water utilities and this thing. Then we are also setting up 5 professor chair in the country in 5 institutions, starting TIS in Mumbai, Tata Institute of Social Sciences in Mumbai. Basically, it is for local self-government governance. IIM Bangalore, basically for public utility development, water utility development, water economics, and 3 IITs, IIT Guwahati for water technologies, IIT Kanpur for data science and informatics, and IIT Jodhpur in Rajasthan, basically on sustainability of drinking water sources and grey water management. So this kind of capacity building program has started. Simultaneously, we have engaged 129 institutions in the country, existing institutions, which are basically known as key resource center, and they are involved in training and capacity building. Simultaneously, we have involved roughly 18,000 NGOs, community-based organization, who are basically known as implementation support agency for handholding. And we also have a provision for sector partner, UN agencies and bigger trust and foundation. They have joined hands with us. Basically, they are bringing their own resources for capacity building, training, technology, and all those kind of things. So the motto of the program is basically building partnership, working together, and changing lives. So this is the first part of the whole gamut, whole contour of the program. Well, financial outlay of the program is roughly 51 billion US dollar, or 3,60,000 crore rupees, is spread in 5 years. Plus, we are also providing. Last year, we have provided 28,000 crore rupees to local rural bodies, basically panchayats. You can say 3.5, roughly 4 billion. And next 5 years, we are providing 142,000. 142,000 crore, are roughly say 18 to 19 billion US dollar to local self-government for management, operation, and maintenance of water supply system and improved sanitation in villages. So this kind of fund is going on. If you see the scale of work, every village, average 500 to 600 household, it means there has to be a source of water, source to be created, whether it's underground or from surface water source. There has to be treatment plant, there has to be overhead tank, and then distribution network to every household. So if you see the kind of push it is giving to local economy, starting from pipes to motor to electrical item to joint to facets, to treatment plants, to cement, to iron industry, to pipe industry, I think it's a massive. Simultaneously, today actually we are running short of consulting agencies, because you need agencies for management, for operation, for maintenance, for hand-holding, for project management. So all of a sudden you might have seen, I think everybody here is aware in last, of course, there are n number of factors. It is also impacting our sector that, let's say, commodity prices have increased. So cost of pipe, whether it's a ductile iron pipe or mild steel pipes or PVC pipes or SDP pipes have increased actually. So the demand for infrastructure, this demand, for material, I think it has on significance and that thing. Well, we are expecting that by the implementation of Jal Jeevan Mission, if every household in 5 years start getting clean water, it means you can see it's a socio-economic benefit in terms, because in India, actually, fetching water is the responsibility of women and girls, actually. Mothers, daughters, they accompany their mothers and their time is wasted. So it is going to have huge impact in terms of available time with women and girls, their education, their healthcare, their improved quality of life. It has tremendous impact on that. If you see the progress so far we have made, total 192 million rural households. When we started the program, 32 million households had water supply, but yes, service level had to be improved, and B, system has to be made JJM compliant, means for next 40 years with improved service level, improved quality, improved assurance. So far, roughly 50 million households have been provided tap water connection in 2 years. Program was announced on 15th August 2019, but we started the program on 25th December 2019 when guidelines were issued, and so it is less than 2 years, but 50 million households have been provided connection. Work is going on in rough and let me tell you another figure. 150 out of 600,000 villages, 115,000 villages have become what we call no one is left out. Because equity and inclusiveness, this is very important agenda that no one should be left out. So 115,000 villages have become 100% household tap water supply villages. Work is already going on in roughly little bit more than 200,000 villages. And work is to be started in another 300,000 villages, which we are expecting in next 3 months by December, more than 150,000 villages work is started. So demand is huge. Certain limitations are appearing in terms of that we don't have those kind of contracting agencies or civil agencies who can execute the work, or that kind of skilled manpower. We have taken skilling, but still we need more skilled manpower, whether it's for survey or for mason or for plumber or for many other electrician or pump operator, all those activities. So these kind of limitations are also appearing. In some parts of the country, you will find that yes, limitation is that the cost of pipes have gone slightly higher. Our material has gone higher. We are tackling those kind of problem. Simultaneously, what we have done, that children are very important for us. So we are trying to ensure clean tap water in schools. So roughly, when I'm speaking to you, roughly 75% schools in last 1 year, basically it was started last year on 2nd October and in campaign mode, more so because of COVID. Children need, whenever the schools are open, they need clean water, they need hand washing facility, they need running water in toilets, in urinals, and all those facilities had to be created. So we started this campaign during pandemic on 2nd October 2019 and 20. And by now, roughly 75% schools, they are having provision of 5 clean tap water facility in their schools, hand washing facility, running water, pipe water in toilets, as well as grey water treatment and reuse, as well as rainwater harvesting structure. So 5 elements are there. And similarly, in children's creches and all those places what we call Balwadi or Anganwadi, roughly 70% Anganwadi centers have been provided with tap water supply. So this has been done. One secondary element is there that in India, basically we are trying to that backward district where human development indicators are slightly poorer side, less than national average, we have identified such districts. So out of 734 districts, there are roughly 117 districts which are known as aspirational districts. They are very rich in resources, minerals, and all those things. But human development indicator, because these are forested area, tribal area, and all those places. So we have taken these districts on priority to make provision of tap water supply. You'll be happy to know that when we started the program, the coverage was 9%. 9% household had tap water provision. This has increased to roughly 34%. Similarly, there are Japanese encephalitis or acute encephalitis syndrome areas, basically in 5 states where this disease is very common. In these districts and these villages also, we have taken this program in a big way. So the districts are in Assam, West Bengal, Bihar, UP, and Tamil Nadu, 5 states. There are 61 districts. And here also coverage with tap water supply has increased from less than 3%, 2.65%, to again 33%. So huge progress is being made. Before I close, basically, let me tell you the strategy which we have adopted, which might be of a lot of interest to you. We have roughly 600,000 villages. As per our estimation, in roughly 200,000 villages, less than slightly 200,000 villages, we had some kind of water supply system basically to provide pipe water. Of course, not household connection, but stand post, public stand posts. So these 200,000 villages, they have to be what we call low-hanging fruit, means they have to be augmented, retrofitted, and made functional for the next 30, 40 years, and household connection should be provided to everyone. So this is the first strategy, that existing pipe water supply system villages with pipe water supply system, take up work immediately, augment it, retrofit it, and get tap water connection. So number one, it's a low-hanging fruit, easy to do it. The second thing is that in hilly areas, northern India, Himalaya, like starting from Arunachal Pradesh to come to northern part of West Bengal to some part of Uttarakhand, Himachal Pradesh, Kashmir, Jammu and Kashmir, all these areas, plus in forested areas, Central India forested area, Northeast forested area. We are promoting gravity-based water supply system and or backed by solar power so that people's vulnerability is minimized. They should not be dependent on power supply because it also costs something. So we want to reduce the operational costs, O&M expenditure, electricity costs, we want to reduce this. So the focus is on gravity-based water supply system, starting from any spring or water body or rivulets or rivers, those kind of things. And we try to provide this solar power. See, there are roughly 48,000 villages or habitations rather, where we have water quality problem in terms of arsenic, fluoride, nitrate, salinity, heavy metals, So in these villages, we are trying to set up a system basically where along with treatment plant for that particular contaminants, and then water supply system is provided. Wherever it is taking time in setting the system, we are also providing what you call a small community water purification plant to treat these contaminants. It could be RO, it could be any other technology, filtration, UA, all those things. So basically, community water purification plant we are putting up, and every family should get roughly 50 liter per family per day water supply, bottled water, so that in short term, in interim period, there is a clean water is available. And lastly, in roughly 30 to 40% area of the country, or villages, you can say, more than 150,000 villages, there is a local source of dependable water source is not available. It means they have to bring water from some long distance, either from dam or reservoir or river somewhere. In such area, especially like western part of Haryana, part of Rajasthan, part of Gujarat, Maharashtra, Karnataka, Tamil Nadu, Andhra Pradesh, of course, Telangana has been done. In such area, even some part of Kerala, basically, we are, and UP and MP, what is known as Bundelkhand. In such areas, we are promoting bulk water transfer, treatment, distribution network, supplying water to every village. So this is basically, you can say roughly 30% of the villages are going to have tap water supply. So this kind of mechanism, which require fairly good, heavy investment in terms of infrastructure, in terms of pipelines, in terms of treatment plants, and some overhead tanks and all those kind of things. So overall, if you see the Jal Jeevan Mission, it is a kind of very broad-based program, very clearly laid out objective, heavy use of technology for in planning, implementation, monitoring, and service delivery. End of the day, public utility approach, improving service level delivery, and in due course, we are expecting that these villages where they are start getting services, and then because we are promoting that every family must pay some kind of service charges, tap water service delivery charges, every family must pay something. And in the whole country, roughly people have started paying from rupees 30 rupees to 180 rupees per day, per month, per family. It's a half a dollar, let's say half a US dollar to roughly $3 per month per family. So this kind of tariff, you can say, we are promoting, and in many states as high as like Gujarat, 76%. 76% families have started paying this kind of thing. Take Punjab, same thing is there. In many states, this is being done because we want to ensure long-term good health of this public utility and sector. And who knows, I think this is going to open a new door. That bulk water transfer, treatment, and distribution network, I think there is huge scope for some kind of private sector participation directly. But all these systems, essentially what we are observing at the moment is that whosoever is constructing it, they are going to operate and maintain it for next 5 years or 10 years. So that approach has already come. And we do expect that in due course of time, there is a management contract or pure public private utility, this development is going to take place. Lastly, before closing, there is a huge scope in this sector for basically IT companies and IT related infrastructure. Because just imagine a situation that end of the day, on single backbone, 192 million families, their water supply, grey water, everything is going to manage. No, every village will be working as utility. So it is going to have that kind of, they have to have sensor, they have to have the systems, and they have to have manpower for operating and maintaining it. So I think it is creating. Similarly, the kind of focus is there on water quality. It means essentially chlorination, filtration, treatment. So technology driven and its monitoring, that is becoming very important. So I think I'll stop here. Thank you very much for giving me this opportunity to talk to you and throw some light on various aspects of Jal Jeevan Mission. I'm open to you. If you need any clarification or information, please. Thank you. Thank you so much, Sanjay. Thank you.
Thank you very much, sir, for those fascinating and very detailed initial comments. I would argue, sir, that it is almost impossible to exaggerate or overestimate the impact that this program will have on rural India and the economy in general. Sir, I have a whole list of questions in front of me, but what I will do is perhaps select the 2 or 3 which I think are more relevant and put them to you in the interest of time. And the first that comes to mind, sir, is the question around your initial remarks, the upstream sourcing of water. Because all of us have grown up with this impression that there are several areas of the country where water access is a problem, where we have this stereotype of, like you said, women carrying water for hours from a remote source to their homes, where parts of the country are chronically drought-ridden. So while it is easier to imagine the creation of infrastructure and the pipelines and overhead tanks, how do you address the challenge of consistently sourcing water to fill those pipes?
Indeed, very, very, I think, exceptionally good question. And I think deliberately I had left actually few part of the story. Kindly see the holistic picture. In drinking water sector, we use roughly 5% of the total fresh water available. In India, 85% fresh water is used for agriculture purpose, and roughly 10% used in industry. Okay, that is the. Now imagine the kind of investment in terms of time, energy, reorientation, training, capacity building we are making, and involving everybody. We are making on villages that they should become water, sanitation, and hygiene enlightened villages. We do expect that in due course people will be appreciating that if I reduce my water consumption in agriculture by better crop, by better water irrigation technologies, micro irrigation, if I reduce the water consumption in agriculture even by 5%, 10%, 20%, drinking water scarcity or source problem just simply disappears. Similarly, I think you have taken that a number of reforms have been taken, and that's why micro irrigation is being promoted in a big way, so that water conservation take place. Lastly, we have launched nationwide Jal Shakti Abhiyan. Basically, this campaign is focusing on water conservation, that we have to protect and preserve our water sources, and people should have sufficient water. Let me just give me 1 minute. I'll just give one perspective actually. In fact, kindly, I think most of the people who are present here, they have dealing in one way or the other with technology. Have you ever thought that in last 120 years, what kind of change in technology has come when it comes to disposal of human excreta? In any city wherever you are living, your daily excreta, few hundred grams, 300, 400, 500 grams of human excreta is essentially transported by water through sewer lines and taken to somewhere long distance, treated, untreated, whatever is done, and then released. If you develop this new technology, new housing colonies, these multi-apartments, multi-story apartments, if you can collect your human excreta by 100 ml in aircraft or trains, if on these apartments, these complexes, if you collect human excreta, disinfect it by UV or by chemicals, remove its odor, put into combustion, produce gas, produce electricity, and then it becomes a dry cake and transport it. Imagine your sewer line can just simply end. Your freshwater demand can come down by 70%. I think one of the most inefficient sector today is most neglected sector is basic treatment of human excreta. So I think we have seized this matter, and that's why there is a huge focus on recycling of water, developing new technology, using new technologies, and reducing demand and consumption of water, fresh water in different sector, so that water availability improves.
Thank you very much, sir. Question perhaps on another aspect of the program that you spoke about earlier is the use of technology. We've seen how the Swachh Bharat mission benefited a lot from the use of geotagging and GPS systems in making sure that there is no leakage. Could you talk a little bit more about the IoTs that you referred to briefly, about the dashboard, the monitoring and the intervention through the technology-heavy process that you are currently deploying?
See, what we are doing, as you rightly said, that we have identified 4 or 5 things basically. When we are conceptualized this kind of a huge, humongous program and implemented at so many nodes in so many villages simultaneously, there are so many state governments and at district level government. It means physical monitoring and that is not possible. Of course, check and balances have to be there. So that's why we have 4 elements. Number 1 is basically to ensure transparency. B is accountability. C is proper utilization of fund. And 4th is assured service delivery. So achieve these 4 objectives. If I give you A, B, C, D, very simple, that A, all physical infrastructure which are being planned and implemented is monitored on this backbone, what we call JJM IMIS. Number B, every infrastructure which is being developed, it has to be geotagged and photo geotagged. C, the end beneficiary who is getting tap water connection, functional household tap water connection. We have defined it. So A, it has to be Aadhaar number verified. We know that who is this person who has got the tap water connection. And B is the second part. Through sensor-based IoT devices, we are also have started monitoring service delivery. All payments are used PFMS, Public Finance Management System, on this IT, our backbone, basically that is being done. And we are also empowering, just like COVID-19 testing strategy. I'll request all of you, if you have time, kindly look at ICMR, Indian Council of Medical Research, which they have developed basically COVID-19 testing whole protocol and testing strategy. A similar way that when sample is collected, when it reaches to lab, when report is generated, when it is delivered to the individual, and when remedial action is taken by state authority. Same system we have developed for water quality monitoring and surveillance. And same is available if you type on your computer WQMIS, Water Quality Management Information System. It is public domain. So where water has been tested, good, bad, whatever it is, whether remedial action has been taken or not. So we are modernizing and we are aiming at that anywhere in the world you are sitting. If you know the village, if you know the district, if you know the state, whatever condition, status you want, it will be available to you. So we want that level of transparency. And we have created within next week, we will issuing that we have created a fund. It is known as Rashtriya Jal Jeevan Kosh. This fund is essentially that if any individual or company wants to contribute for water supply infrastructure in the choice of their villages or school or Anganwadi center, anywhere in the country, any district, any village, any place, whether individual or company, they can contribute in this Kosh, in this fund, and desired work will be carried out. And if the money is more than 75% of the total expenditure, you can name it also after your grandparents, parents, your loved ones, anybody, anyone. So this kind of, and you can see the work. Wherever work is going on, you can see the work. This kind of provision we have made. What do you?
Sir, if I may ask, perhaps my one last question, given the paucity of time, and I apologize if this sounds a little bit cynical, but the Indian bureaucracy has been historically caricatured as being slow moving, inefficient, and many of those adjectives have been attached to it over time. Yet it is that same machinery that you are now deploying in a very crunched time for something that is remarkable in terms of an ambition, in terms of the outcome that is expected. How does this happen? What are the incentives that are created for officials on the ground? What drives them to ensure proper and timely delivery?
No, you have, your observation are correct, and your question is very pertinent, very pertinent. Let me tell you the Indian bureaucracy and the system actually. Please, what we call actually during our training days and this thing, incentive driven and all those managed system are in place and people are working. But in Indian context, what we promote actually, especially civil servants, or something what we call higher goals, because your certain things are assured. Your salary, your position, your perks, your pension, everything is ensured, and you are working for higher goals. So if leadership is able to set up that challenge, and these are the higher goals you are working for it. The first step, it has been taken. That yes, leadership has given a vision, Prime Minister has given a vision that imagine the kind of transformation, the change you are going to take place. So people like us, whether at national level or district level or state level, I think we all feel motivated enough, charged enough that I'm bringing that change. Number one, this is very, very important thing. You can see that if you see the vaccination drive in India, imagine during COVID testing, all those workers, all those frontline workers, healthcare workers, doctor, nurses, they were not driven by money. Mark my word, they were not driven by money. They were driven by that we are doing something very higher, something very, very bigger thing. So number one in India, in Indian condition, I think if you are able to motivate your team, set that goal, higher goal, something exceptional, you can motivate. If not 100%, certainly not 100%, 90%, 80%, 75%, so you can motivate them and everybody is driven that I am going to give 2-3 years of my life to this project, this work, and I'll be remembered for my contribution for next 30-40 years. So this is number one thing. And I think what we are trying to do is basically we have followed this. And second, we are promoting management by values. I think this is not the occasion and forum probably to elaborate it further, but management by values, we are promoting it. Okay. This is the second thing. And third, I have mentioned very obliquely the kind of training, reorientation, and change management in terms of public health engineer, administrator, in terms of a national institute, 2 center of excellence, 5 professor chair, then 129 key resource center, and roughly 182 sector partners. So end of the day, massive, and of course, skilling. So massive capacity building, reorientation, mindset change is taking place. Yes, it is a huge challenge. Today, well, I'm all powerful. And imagine tomorrow nobody is going to come to me that please provide me water through tanker. So yes, those challenges are there. But I think this concept has taken a root. People are, as you rightly said, that it is transformational program. And I think all those involved in the program implementation, I think they do think that it is a transformational program. And this is the high time. Because today, please don't mind what I'm going to say is very embarrassing. Whosoever is associated with Jal Jeevan Mission in its planning, implementation, I think he or she derives a lot of satisfaction. He or she get a lot of, respect in society. In our kind of society, gets him. I think this is forcing a lot of people to basically work in this manner. And every week, actually, I'm going to 2-3 states, talking to people, holding conferences, holding, seminars, holding workshops for this change. And good thing is that it's working. So I'm very, very happy that it's working, and that's why this kind of progress is taking place. Thank you.
Thank you very much, sir. This is a very fascinating topic, and we would have loved, I'm sure everybody on the call would have loved to spend a lot more time talking about this with you. But I do realize that we are running out of our allotted time. Thank you again, sir, for taking time from your schedule to speak with us. I'm sure all our investors have benefited a lot. I'll hand over to Madhav, our CEO, for closing remarks.
Thank you, Sanjay. Thank you
sir.
so much.
Thank you, sir. This was just fascinating to hear. Thank you very much for taking the time to speak with us today. It's really been a privilege and an honor to listen to your comments today and what is truly a transformative endeavor of the Indian government. Just attempting to cover 604,000 villages and 192 million households within a 5-year period to give universal tap water connections in every rural household. Audacious as the goal has been, what you and your team have done in a 2-year period to cover 15 million households, 115,000 villages, as you said, are 100% tap water villages. This is the scale of what you presented. Even as we hear about government capex, $20 billion going into infrastructure, we hear about rural jobs. This is truly an example of where government capex is making a material difference to lives of people, ease of lives. And we wish you and the program the best of luck. Provision of assured potable water clearly has significant multiplicatory effects and can dramatically improve productivity in rural India. Again, thank you very much for your thoughts on this critical scheme and a remarkable session. So thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Madhav. Thank you, Sanjay and Bharat. It was a pleasure to be here, and indeed, great session. Thank you.